Paul Steinhardt.
Yeah. And Pavlovsky is the same problem. The same problem with the Big Bang singularity and what's before it is the exact same problem of having any theories based around what's in a black hole. It's the same thing. There's no data out of it. Information cannot escape a black hole. That's part of the laws of physics surrounding it, just like how light can't escape. So nothing comes out. We know absolutely nothing for sure about
what do you think of the compressed
what's going on in
the
center.
compressed
That's
matter?
what I'm talking about.
Because that's how I see it.
Yeah, in the black hole. But
Yeah.
it's just made on nothing as well. There's no evidence for
Well,
it.
Hawking says there's radiation in it.
Yeah, but that's not from... No. Hawking, see, you're misunderstanding Hawking radiation. It is not from in the black hole. It is from the quantum physics that happens in the accretion disk surrounding the black hole.
Like the event horizon?
Yes. The event horizon of the black hole, because black hole is the most extreme physics environment in our universe, is the second most extreme environment. The hottest, the fastest. Even just teeny bits of gas, dust particle, like here's a little cloud of, how this chunk of oxygen particles. Here's this chunk of hydrogen, this chunk of this. Just that little bit of stuff is enough to get rammed together at such high speeds it glows and sends out radiation. It's super burning hot. So that's where Hawking radiation comes from, is the shit going on outside of a black hole in the accretion disk, which is where matter and things get trapped, orbiting at pretty much the speed of light almost, before they finally get sucked into the black hole.
So Pavlovsky's saying the universe is actually inside a black hole.
All of that is based on just his thoughts. So there's no evidence for any of that. It's impossible to get evidence. That's why those theories get shrugged off, because even if it could be possible, which yes, the physics break down to where there could kind of technically be infinite space-time or a universe worth of space-time in a black hole singularity. May not. We don't know. We can't find out. But any theories based on that are pointless right now because they're unverifiable, untestable, unprovable.
Well, I'm saying
or
our
disprovable.
visible universe is just a speck of the universe. Like being in a fishbowl.
Yeah. But that doesn't matter. Whatever ours is doing, the same laws of physics apply to all the universe. It doesn't change. The rate of dark energy doesn't change the further from us we get. Every law of physics we observe on Earth applies exactly the same to the rest of the whole universe, every single square inch of it. So you can't be like, oh, we only see this piece, and out here all this is going on. No, it can't be that. Okay. They all have the same laws of physics. Everything is a math equation. Absolutely everything. That's what's fascinates me about science in the first place. Well, that's what proves it, too. Like, that's being able to do that math first and say, if this is all true, then this, and this should happen. And then every single time we look in the universe, that is proven true. That's crazy. And that's how we know they're right. And, like, for example, that's black holes. Our math says, okay, I wish I hadn't smoked, because now I don't know if I always flip the terms. So there's a term for when the force holding an object, like, okay, it's two planets, if they're going to collide, it's not like you'd picture on Earth, like we throw two baseballs and they're going to end up in an orbit, and as they get closer, they start slowly warping, the atmospheres heat up and catch on fire, the ocean tides are going crazy, all this stuff happens. Whichever one, it depends on what they're made of and the density and stuff, but whichever one's basically the weaker, an easy way to say it, is the one that's going to get ripped apart first. So if you have like a small super dense thing coming towards a big like gas giant, it's going to basically, once it gets to a certain radius, one is called the Schwarzschild radius and one is the Rorschach. Yeah, okay, so it's Rorschach limit. That's the one I usually mix it up with, is when things get ripped apart, and that's pointless. Anyway, Schwarzschild radius, according to the math, once anything of matter gets condensed down to a certain amount of area, if you force it past its smallest amount of area it's supposed to occupy, it becomes a black hole. Okay. So, and then all this crazy shit, happens once that happens. Space-time gets bent, warped, light can't escape, blah, 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 accretion disk. All that math came first, and then way later we had the technology and found black holes are real. Like, holy shit, it's true. Like, that's what kind of blows my mind. Is
I see black holes
even when the math breaks and gets extreme, it still proves itself in the universe.
I see black holes as being all connected and sort of being like portals to other dimensions.
Well, no, it's not another dimension. It still follows
To
our
other
physics. The physics just gets so extreme we can't calculate it. No, it's our universe. It is part of our. You could kind of call the singularity in there another universe, depending on how much space time is trapped there and the fact you can't get out. But it's a piece of our universe. It's not. It's not other. It is in the major math equation that equals our total universe. All the matter, all the energy, all the space time can be calculated for, and black holes are a piece of that. They're not extra. All black holes that exist and
So you're saying where I show us as a tiny spot in the egg, you're saying science shows
the physics
that is all the matter there is what we can
no.
see.
But
I'm lost.
all black holes that exist, all the matter that could be part of our universe and our set of space time and our set of physics came from the same singularity, came from the Big Bang. Every black hole that exists is part of that math equation.
Okay.
Yes.
It's part of the
everything
expansion,
in the egg,
like
in the one
matter.
universe. All those black. So you were saying those black holes are part of another dimension. No, they're not.
No, I'm just saying
They're
they're
a
all
chunk of
connected at their core. The black hole is like a special thing.
No, everything's connected. No,
everything's connected.
Mom, a black hole is just a planet but bigger. Just like a star is a planet but bigger, and the physics get crazier.
A planet.
It's just a shit ton of matter in a small spot because it's so
condensed.
much gravity. Yeah.
And
there's nothing magical. It's not connected.
Couldn't it then
it's not different material.
implode at a certain point when it gets to its max compression?
No, because unlike a star, it's not putting any energy out. The reason stars implode and do all this stuff and die is they're following the laws of thermodynamics. They're outputting. If you're putting energy out, your system is somehow losing energy. It's insanely complex physics, but through process nuclear reaction, depending on what kind of star it is, it's burning its fuel and it goes through different elements. And once it's out of energy and it's going to die. And then depending on
what
the size
happens
is how
to
it
the
dies.
seed then?
But the whole seed thing is made up. There's no evidence. I can't answer
well,
anything
if it
about
compresses matter to
exist.
something.
So a planet, you think of a rock as matter, and then a country is more, and a planet's more, and a star is so much matter, it's a constant burning, exploding nuclear reaction because the matter is so heavy it's smashing and pressuring itself. And then supernovas and superstars are that much matter more. A black hole is the same exact thing. It's a star that got way too big. So now instead of a supernova explosion thing constantly going off, it's a black hole. It's all that set. It's just a different set of physics for a bigger part of matter that it reaches a threshold that changes the physics.
Okay, so couldn't a black
It's
hole
not-
do that? I mean, they're finding
A black-
certain galaxies
A
have
singularity in a
white
black hole
hole
could
and a
do
black
almost
hole.
anything.
Okay,
But basing theories off of it is pointless because it cannot be measured.
because we can't
It cannot
prove
be
it.
proven, it can't be disproven, it can't be tested. Never. It can never be known. A black hole can never be entered and left. There's nothing with black holes has any use to us other than learning more about them and like maybe using the outside of them for energy and the accretion disk.
Maybe
When all the
it
stars die,
turns
if there's
inside
still
out.
civilizations, black holes will be the only source of free energy.
And it becomes the opposite of itself.
That's never happened.
something.
Though. You're doing the same thing the dark energy guy did. Maybe it starts lowering and then becomes zero.
Well, I
and
mean,
then-
that's where philosophy
Yeah, but
goes,
maybe
is you
Yeah, well,
wonder.
that's why you can't apply it to science because there's no data, there's no requirements. It's just pointless thinking. You can make up anything. Maybe a dragon appears and eats the universe. That's just as viable. If there's no data, no evidence, there's no rules, so there's no point. That's why I don't dig into philosophy.
Then why are they still looking if they can't? They can only see beyond a certain point. There's only so much they can know.
No, there's still all kinds of shit we don't know the exact answer to about quantum physics and cosmology. We don't know what dark energy is. We don't know what causes it yet.
Okay.
We don't know dark matter either. There's a shit ton in quantum physics we don't know still, and there's also, even though quantum physics also
Well,
has
that's kind of
the most
newer.
accurate representations,
isn't
yeah,
it?
but it's still over a century old, really, and it has the most accurate predictions in all of science. But for example, there's a big problem with general relativity and quantum physics. Everything we know about it, they don't mix. We can't combine, and they should work. If they're both two extreme ends of physics and math in the universe, it should be part of all one big equation, and we can't get them to fit, and no theory that tries to do it shakes out.
See, and I can't even go
No,
there
they
because
do
I
it.
can't even fully understand the question, the problem. I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's quite a few holes where there's issues that we don't know.
That's why I don't even know.
And yeah, everything pre-Big Bang, everything in black holes, we have no idea. But we can't. There's no way to get data, so there's nothing to test. There's nothing to study. There's nothing to figure out yet. We can only study outside and make mathematical models.
It's just that this structure came to me out of nowhere, and I've had to study all the stuff related to it because I didn't know any of this science or cosmology stuff.
I was saying that's what it's easy to do, like to find pieces and just take the ones you can grab and understand, like, oh, this fits, but
Yeah,
you have
that's
to
what
be
I'm
able to
trying
accept
to.
all of it. You have to be able to take the whole model. Like,
I'm
oh,
trying to make science
this
fit
piece
the
of
egg.
this. Yeah, but it has to
And
all fit.
Itzhak Bentov went even further than just the one egg. He did multiple universes within a whole nother complex
Yeah, but that's the same
system,
problem.
some kind
Even
of
if
sea.
the multiverse, because
He
multiverse
went
could exist, and there's
way.
solid evidence it might be a part of how physics works. But if there is, physics and everything's the laws, like it's all math, and it's all forces that have balances, positive and negative. So they can all be completely different in another universe. So nothing we think of or try to make up about another universe doesn't matter either, because there's no way to test or observe.
So could
Gravity might not even
the
be
movement
the
of the
thing in
universe
another
be related
universe.
to magnetics and or
No,
gravity
we measure
or
magnetics.
gravity?
It can't be any force we already have. We measure them all. We can measure gravitation waves.
You're saying it's a force we haven't measured, dark
No,
energy.
it's all the forces we already know how. There's no part of how the universe is moving that we're like, why is it doing that? We know all of it. Nothing in the universe moves in a way that we go, well, that don't work. That don't. It all fits.
What about dark energy?
Dark energy, we know. Yeah, it's just a force. It's just we call it dark energy because we don't know the rest about it. Like we know the exact details of everything about gravity, dark energy. We just know the forces putting on the universe, and that's it. But that's not the movement of the universe itself. We know that. It's set. We've been able to observe it so well with so much better orbiting telescopes and things, and really ever since Hubble. There's all kinds of different kinds of evidence of it, like red shifting and blue and stuff. The universes that are farthest away, the galaxies.
Is it possible to develop technology to see further than 56 billion light years across?
No, because light can only travel at its speed. Our limit of sight isn't because there's nothing. It's
because of the
light
speed
can
of
only
light?
go so fast. Yeah, the universe is only so old. It's only about 14 billion years old.
13.7.
Yeah,
or
so
20.
it's only traveled 14 billion light years in either direction, pretty much. So yeah, no matter how advanced our telescopes and things got, the only way we'd be able to see other parts of the universe is if we could somehow travel. Like if we could say take a wormhole from where we are 10 billion light years to the other way, then we use those same telescopes and shit, boom, we'd see new stuff we've never seen before. But wormholes are only a theory.
So how big do they currently think the universe is in comparison to our visible universe? They've got to think it's bigger than that.
Well, yeah, but it's not. It's kind of like an unknown of what's beyond the observable universe.
Okay. I mean, just
But the observable
putting it
universe,
into an egg is still
the observable universe
gigantic.
is what we consider our universe. As far as we know, there's nothing, because nothing goes faster than light. So that light barrier of how much we can see, that's the barrier of how much shit's gotten flung out from the Big Bang too. It ain't like there's, a bunch of other shit, unless there's other universes out there coming at us, which is possible. It could be like we're one bubble in a giant fucking bubble bath worth of universes, and then all their borders are near each other. But that's less. I mean, it's possible, but from what I've heard of the math and stuff, the multiverse theory kind of works a lot different than that. But and again, it's something that can't really be proven, tested, or anything like that. So.
Can't prove it.
Yeah. And if there are other universes, like I said, the physics don't necessarily have to be the same. So they could literally be incomprehensible by our minds, let alone measurable and observable.
I'm just obsessed with the egg because of how it came to me in a vision, and then the next day I start trying to Google and search the cosmic egg, and I found Bentoff's video describing exactly what I saw. I'm like, how the fuck? What the
Yeah, you gotta think about
shit?
it. You know how many billions of people have lived, and think of how natural an egg is of a thing for a human to understand
Yeah,
and
but I
comprehend
saw
as a
the
concept.
galaxies spinning
Yeah, that's
around and
fine.
moving
But
around.
everything you see, feel, and experience isn't reality. It's in here, all of it. Every single thing you've ever felt in your whole life, if we had the technology and the knowledge, could be stimulated by sticking rods in there and sending off certain
Well, I
signals.
take it you've never had actual visions. It's more
No,
than like saying, it's
you
more than
can.
saying
It's
apple and picturing an apple in your mind's eye.
yeah, no, I know. It can
It's
be reality.
it's
It
like
can feel
watching a
real, and it can
movie.
sound real. Yeah. So is schizophrenia. That doesn't make what they hear real. That's the point. It's not. If
Well,
it's
Alan
real,
Watts said schizophrenics are trained as shamans.
yeah, well, he's just making stuff up. Every single thing that is real is observable
in
by
the
everyone.
East or whatever.
Okay, but every single thing that is real is observable by everyone equally, unless you're blind or deaf. Other than obviously those circumstances. There's no such thing as
Couldn't there
I can
be
tune into this or that. No one else can.
a reality more real than real? Like a lot of near death experiencers
Well, yeah,
describe, oh, the colors
well,
and
we
I've
think
never
of
seen
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and
Well, that's different. But what we perceive as reality, yeah, hell yeah, that's not all of what's here. We can't even observe the whole frequency of light
or fourth
or
dimension.
sound or oh yeah, or conserve time. Yeah, so we don't even hell no. What our perception is not what is necessarily all of reality. That's why science has to rely on instruments to understand reality. We can't perceive it. Like the way quantum physics works, and we know for a fact it works. Like I said, that is the most accurate predictions in all
I
of
think we
science.
can perceive the
It
next
doesn't
nearest
fit,
levels to it, like as if we're
but
progressing
we don't.
spiritual
So
evolution.
that's the thing, Mom. Quantum physics is the engine of how everything works. Every bit of physics
I
boils
should
down to it.
so study that.
And well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You keep trying to add, okay, what we perceive versus that science. What we perceive doesn't even fit it. Like in quantum physics, I'm not touching this table ever.
Right,
I
because
never
there's
interact.
nothing,
Yeah,
no
but
solid
obviously that's not
matter.
reality. No human would say I'm not doing that. Obviously,
Well, it's your brain
we don't
telling you
even
that,
comprehend
right?
the real workings of the universe.
It's your brain telling you that, hey, this thing's solid, I can't possibly go through it.
No,
But yet it's
real.
all just
It is.
atoms
I
and
can't go through
molecules.
it. Yeah, but it's true that I can't go through.
Well,
it.
isn't there like a repulsive force or something going
It's
on
it's part of physics, yeah,
molecularly?
the electromagnetic force.
Yeah.
But if enough energy was applied to my hand, I would go through it. And if even more and more
Okay.
and more was applied, that's fusion, and that's a star, that's a nuclear reactor, that's an
Okay.
atom bomb.
So it's
Everything is
possible
part
we
of the
could
same
be
math.
in a like a hologram or
A simulation,
Delu-
yeah, it's
simulation,
possible.
yeah.
But again, same as a singularity. If
could
we
it
were,
be
there'd be
a
no way to prove it.
conscious, a projection of consciousness to
That
where,
doesn't mean anything to
say,
me
source
scientifically, I don't
can
know.
visualize things so realistically that it's all a visualization of
No, because
consciousness?
visualizations of a consciousness don't create matter. You can close your eyes and visualize a million things you want. It won't affect anything in existence. And that's what you're suggesting.
But a matter is just a collection of atoms, which is mostly empty space.
It doesn't matter.
So-
It's not zero empty space. It's energy. It follows rules and laws of physics.
Yeah, I keep trying to fit how it's all consciousness, but yet there's this thing we call physical reality, which is more than the Sims on the screen. It's three-dimensional.
Yeah, it exists.
And there's
it's a real
science
thing.
and
It's
math
not just a
behind
thought.
it.
It's not just an imagine. No, it's real. Yeah. We know that much. Now, the simulation thing, yeah, that's possible. But it's the same problem with the singularity.
As far as
You
what,
can't
like
measure
aliens tossing us
a
into
computer,
avatars?
super AI, yeah, an alien simulate, anything like that. But not just a thought. It would be literally, an alien thing, like made it. Or like the end of Men in Black, you remember that? It starts zooming out from Earth after they rescue Earth from all the aliens and save the other aliens. And it's zooming out, you see our solar system, our galaxy, and it goes, you see the whole thing, and more, you see the whole universe more. And it's just a marble. A bunch of aliens are
Yes.
into a bag. Yeah, it could be something like that.
Yes.
But it's pointless if
Like a
that's,
cell in the blood
Yeah.
vein of God or
but making
whatever.
any theories based on that is pointless because there's no way to measure it. It's the same problem with singularity.
Well, that
It's
sucks.
impossible.
We need bigger
There would be
rulers.
such an energy difference in things. Just like how a video game can never reach out and affect the real world, it can't. We can't reach out and measure and affect. It's the same thing. You're stuck. That's why there's so many theories and videos and ideas and things written about those kinds of ideas, because it's free ground. It's like when shit hits free use, no copyright. Like anyone can say anything and do anything with any of it, and no one can say shit because there's no data, there's no evidence. So who knows? But that's why I don't really, I don't bother into any of those theories either, because there's no way to ever know if anything is true or not. That's kind of.
Well, you would think scientists would be disappointed by that. They keep trying. I mean,
No.
they keep coming up with theories.
There's no heavily funded research into.
Oh, not
those
funded,
kind of
yeah.
theories, no. The main of science is only focused on the shit that we actually know.
I found Poplawski on Twitter. He's only got like 400
Well, like
followers.
I said, it's
But I
all-
first found him because he had like a double vortex theory or a pop bottle theory where the water spins around in a vortex, and I don't remember exactly, but somehow it tied into my egg because I have the double vortex. And I found these people afterwards trying to research it, trying to make it fit, and so now you tell me you can't prove it, but maybe we can prove the other end of it, which is how we can access it other than the physical via meditation, visions.
Well, some things that
Consciousness.
can't be directly observed can still be proven. That's how we've proven virtual particles, for example, because it affects the things around it.
Mm-hmm.
So those particles that appear in existence, hit each other and annihilate, they'll sometimes wiggle or, whatever, somehow affect a particle near it. And we observe those effects, and that's how we know they exist. So there are some cases where you can prove some things that can't technically be directly observed, but that's,
Well, like say, because we're at the top of the egg, it is weird. I even pictured us in the same place as he did, like at 11:11, that, like approaching midnight, like we're at the escape horizon, I call it. And so we're gonna make an immediate, from this wide spiral, we're gonna make an immediate curve to the outer part of the inner egg. Would that be detectable
Any change in movement in the universe would be detectable massively.
in the whole universe?
Yeah,
If
obviously.
they can tell if the whole universe alters in
Well, yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
Can they tell if it's moving in a spiral?
Yeah.
I mean, the galaxies are moving in a spiral, right?
Yeah, if we can tell that it's doing this, then we can obviously tell if it does
So
anything
is
else.
it? Is the
No,
universe?
it's doing this. That's what I told you. It's that's it. It's expanding outward faster.
So if you're in
and
this
faster
circle
all
within a
directions.
blood vein and you're just a cell, and the cell itself is expanding and you're not near the edge of the vein.
Yeah, but again, you're talking about things happening outside of the observable universe. You're in singularity territory. You're outside of everything to do with the universe again. All of our matter, light, and energy is within that bubble, that observable universe. Nothing moves faster than light. So nothing can be outside the light from the original explosion of the universe. The oldest light that's traveled the furthest, that's the furthest anything has gone from the Big Bang. That's those first circle of light that out. Nothing can be outside. Anything you talk about outside of that is the same as talking
Well,
about
see, I
inside
saw
a
it
black
as
hole.
7 spirals up,
Nothing
7
outside of it
spirals
can be
around,
measured.
and 7 back. But I think that might be more symbolic than actual, because Itzhak Bentov, that's where we differed, is he showed it straight up and out like they show the expansion models that they show.
Yeah. Yeah,
And then he
that's
showed
people-
it raining down.
That's
like
people
gravity.
misunderstanding those models, because those are trying to show 3D and 2D, and then like, oh, that's what the universe is. The universe is not a cone like that doing that. That's basically a graph that's showing time and the universe. So you're seeing the beginning of the universe, and the time is changing as the graph stretches, and that's just the easiest way to do it. The universe is not that weird funnel shape. It's not traveling like that.
How do you know?
Because we know it's doing this. We already told you. I already told you.
But
it's expanding out in all directions.
Couldn't just the cell
That
be
is
doing
a
it?
that is a time graph of the Big Bang. That is not a model of what the universe's physical state is. That's an ever expanding outward ball, basically, of everything.
Which means it had to expand in every
Every
direction.
yeah, equally, exactly, and accelerating. And the
But
further away it
galaxies
gets,
don't do that. They
the
shoot
more
like
it's
a jet
accelerating.
stream.
No, that's a black hole you're picturing, not a galaxy. Galaxies don't shoot jet streams. Galaxies are big clusters of stars and planets.
And the core
black
is
holes
what?
moving around each other. Usually
What's
a
the core?
supermassive black hole.
Not a black hole and a white hole. How are stars
No.
produced?
A super. Stars are just when it's a, so you remember the Schwarzschild limit or the Schwarzschild
I
radius?
thought they were the creator of stars. Well, nebula, but
No.
yeah.
You remember the Schwarzschild radius, where once you compress matter to a small enough point, it becomes a black hole?
Okay.
It's the same kind of thing for a star. Once a planet gets enough matter in its certain space, it'll become a star. The gravity in the center of the core, which is
So a star becomes a black hole, and the black hole becomes
no,
a star.
some stars become black holes. Only the most
And do they
biggest
do it in
supergiant, and some of
reverse?
them
The
can.
black hole
No.
becomes a star.
Black holes never become anything else other than black holes. The way the physics in black holes works, they will be the last things left in the universe. They will outlive everything. When the last stars burn out and their matter's all used up, and they've exploded, or which depending on what size they are, whatever they're going to do, there will be black holes will be what's left, and planets that aren't big enough to ever become stars. Like Jupiter is our biggest planet and is decently close, if I remember correctly. Like if you multiplied its mass, I think only like times 15 or 30 or something, it would become a very small star. Fusion would start in its core. The closer to the core of a planet you get, the stronger the gravity. You're getting to the center of the gravity well. That means more pressure, more heat. Once that level of pressure and force can overcome the electromagnetic force that prevents atoms from touching, that's fusion. Now, technically, though, we've learned that fusion, because of quantum physics, starts or can start sooner than that in stars, because right before they get enough pressure to smash atoms together, they're so intense and so much matter condensed so close together that even though it's super rare, you know how in quantum physics there's quantum tunneling, a particle can travel through a solid wall.
I don't think I know that one
Oh,
yet.
well, that's a thing. Technically, in quantum physics, and by the laws of it, there is a chance if I ran into this wall enough times, I'd eventually phase through it. But it would take so many quadrillion, trillion times, 10 to the trillion powered times, the universe would end before it actually would
Well,
happen.
how are the aliens
But-
doing it? They supposedly walk people through walls.
Well, so particles can do it because the odds of my massive number of more than there are particles in the universe, or planets in the universe, number of particles in me, all going through at the same time is tiny. But when you throw single particles at a wall, one goes through once in a while. So when you've got the core of a super, super massive planet ready to be a star, there's so many particles touching so close almost that there's enough quantum tunneling to start real fusion, and so the fusion kicks off and you have a star.
So would aliens possibly have a technology that can walk
Affect
you
quantum
through
physics?
walls? Yeah.
I doubt it. I don't know. We make shit. I mean, we use the way quantum physics
Unless they're
works
just
in our
transporting
technology,
your
but I don't-
ethereal body. I don't know.
Technology wouldn't really work that way. Trying to warp a human or a living being to that level of physics and degree would be infinitely
Like
harder.
on Willy Wonka.
Yeah,
Mm.
but doing that would be infinitely harder than just making the wall change in some way. So that'd be the way technology
to affect
would
the
go.
wall?
Yeah. Engineering is always, it's like Occam's razor. You've heard
So
of that.
maybe you can vibrate it at a certain level, and then it becomes like
Yeah,
a
you
tuning
can make
fork or
walls that
something.
do crazy shit, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, you've heard of Occam's razor, right?
It's
There's
not
two
coming.
possibilities for a certain thing. If one is way more likely, that's the one you go with. If 99% chance of this is probably what happened, but this crazy concurrence of psycho crazy random events might have happened to do this instead and the same outcome. It's mostly you go with the 99% chance. So yeah, it's
Is that called
engineering.
scientific?
Yeah, it's
Ignore that
Occam's razor.
1%.
No, well, it's not 1%. It's way less than 1%. It's like if Alan came here, set his big old down, walked away, came back in, and half of it's gone, and he's all like, "What the fuck happened? I don't remember drinking it." What's more likely? Did one of us run over and sneak half his chug it, or did he drink it and forget? He just forgot. it's not suddenly proof that one of us is a lying thief. That's kind of a weird example of Occam's razor. Like, if some super near impossible, like, or say Alan went missing, there's more likely outcomes. If you suddenly went, oh my God, some Asian gang from Japan came and kidnapped him, yeah, that might be true, but what the hell's more likely? Alan got lost or something, or he said poker and you forgot. You know what I mean? That's Occam's razor. Yeah, that's a scientific thing. Yes, there's a million crazy, wacky things that could fit within physics that might answer certain questions, but there's no proof of it. Why would we ever consider it when you've got all this evidence of these other things? So, I forgot where I was going before that part, though. Oh, yeah, so engineering. Engineering is tied in with, like, cost and time and everything put in, so it kind of follows Occam's razor. You're not going to, like I said, if you have the choice, you're not going to try to phase a human body versus just make a wall that can do it, because that's a million times easier. And, like, there's a lot of technologies we could create, but they're completely not feasible and in a usable way. That's like, technically, you could have enough AKs to make a jetpack. But why the fuck would you do it? It's ridiculous. You can just make a jetpack in a way, way easier way. So the odds of, even if there was a super advanced alien technology, and they knew how to manipulate quantum physics itself and make it do certain things, why would they try to use it to make, it's just weird that they'd have devices to make people go through walls instead of just make the wall go through a wall. That's what I'm saying.
Well, that would explain it.
If a super advanced alien wanted to pull you out of this house, they're not going to fucking phase you through the wall. If anything, they're going to have something that just shatters everything above you and makes a clear path.
Well, they don't want to leave evidence that they were there.
Why would they give a shit?
Because apparently they're trying not to interfere while also advancing our DNA, which is self-contradictory.
All that doesn't, there's nothing. Now you're getting into woo-woo, basically. There's no evidence of our DNA being altered ever in all history. It traces back.
Well, I read that scientifically about every 6,000 years there's a DNA mutation.
No, that's nonsense. There's mutations constantly all the time.
Okay.
Red hair's a mutation. Blue eyes are a mutation. Blonde
so
hair's a
then
mutation.
DNA changes.
Constantly, yeah. But it's following physics and regular mutations. It's not, if aliens interfered and altered it, there would be a sudden change.
Well,
it's just like I said with everything else. Math, all the way starting from me picking up this phone, the same equations balance all the way out to the center of a black hole or a star. And if same with our DNA.
Didn't we go from apes to humans pretty fast?
Apes,
or caveman to humans?
We're not from apes. We're apes.
We're apes.
We're extremely.
But the difference between us and the hairy apes
is tiny. The difference from us and the chimpanzee is less than 1% of our DNA.
The skeleton of the one that's in between hairy ape and man.
There's no one.
They called it the primordial Eve
every
or
theory
something.
that you hear that talks that way doesn't understand the science truly.
So you're saying we went
naturally from
hairy ape to man.
We are a hairy ape. What are you saying? We're a hairy ape. We're just less hairy than a gorilla.
I know, but our arms don't hang past our knees. We had that evolves over time, a long time.
And there's also monkeys with tails and without.
And we didn't do that extremely quickly.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's no exactly. If aliens stepped in,
the missing link is what I was getting.
Yeah, that's people who don't understand evolution. Yeah, if they're you're onto it though. If there was a time where they stepped in and went, boom, change this, we would see that. Yes, 100%, and that does not exist.
We would see that?
We can see our line all the way back to when we were
Okay, how do we explain RH
negative? We know what mammals we were when dinosaurs were around.
How do we explain RH negative blood?
I don't know what that is.
It's
never even heard of it.
Callie was pregnant and she had to take a shot because her body was attacking the foreign sperm. And
does it change her blood?
RH negative, you have to take a special shot to recognize, to not attack a human
that's a normal thing.
Sperm.
That's your body's
and it's supposedly
immune system. That's the same process that causes cancer.
Not explainable with the other blood types of where it first appeared and how it appeared.
I've never heard of any of that nonsense, but yeah, there's our body always has a risk of attacking foreign agents. It's the same when people donate
But why
organs.
would your body
People
consider a
just-
human a foreign agent?
Because it is. Another human isn't you. Your body is you. Your genes,
Well, other
your
people
genetic
don't have
genes'
to have a
goal
shot.
is to reproduce itself, and that is it. Everything else is a possible enemy. Or possibly an ally, but it's more easy to get. Like everything in your body.
Well, they
is a
also
foreign
say that
invader.
they're alien hybrids, the Rh negative.
No, there's no evidence.
Is,
Their DNA would be completely different. If that was true, we'd see all kinds of differences. That's nonsense. Our human body attacks any foreign invader. Your human body can attack its own cells and kill it. That's where cancer comes
So
in.
it would attack like those chip implants that supposedly aliens
Yeah,
leave,
your DNA,
put
but
into your skin.
if aliens had the tech, it would be beyond that anyway. They'd be able to counter the immune system and shit.
Oh,
They wouldn't be
okay.
that dumb. They would know better.
Okay.
But it doesn't. There's no evidence of that either. Anybody who says they've got aliens did this or that or put this in them, none of it's ever been proven true.
And it can be.
If that was true, yes, it would be 100%. Unless their tech
I mean, do
was
they have
so
to be
advanced
checking for that,
we
or they
couldn't
they
detect
would
it,
just
but that's
go,
extreme.
oh, what is
They
that?
wouldn't do that. That's the point. Anyone who claims any of that, again, doesn't understand aliens and how insanely advanced they would be. Like, they wouldn't need to put a chip in you. We'd be able to see whatever the fuck they wanted. They're so beyond us, would be so beyond us that they could get here from outside
Like
the solar
it would
system.
be likely there
ridiculous.
could be an orange observation orb that appears outside your window, and you know it's looking
No,
at
you're not
you.
doing it. You're back to a personal
I
experience. That's
saw
not
this
existent.
thing.
Your personal experiences don't equal
I
reality.
didn't create that.
They never do. It has to be equal to anyone. Anyone who's looking has to see the same thing.
Anybody who was looking would see the same thing.
But
It was
didn't. There's no
there.
evidence of it, so there's no point. In,
It was
I
in
can't
the
prove
middle
it or
of the
disprove
night.
it. There's no point in focusing on it. No, just because you see or hear something doesn't mean it was truly there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But
We all
couldn't
see
they
and
have
hear
a technology
things,
that sends this
especially if
drone
you're half asleep
sphere
in the middle of the night.
down, and it can view you like a remote camera?
They wouldn't need that.
Like,
See, again, that's you not understanding how advanced they'd be.
They wouldn't need
They
that
could
either.
observe you from Jupiter.
Yeah, but there's going to be some
No,
super
we,
advanced,
no,
less
we have satellites
advanced.
that can spy on you from space
Okay,
and tell you what
yeah.
kind of shoes you're wearing.
There you go.
They're way past that. Why would they have to send
Why
something
are
down?
they
Bullshit.
way past that?
We don't send shit down.
Why aren't these the ones that aren't
Because
way past? They're just past.
They are, even again, if they're way past, they wouldn't send a thing down. Again, that's like a caveman idea of technology compared to they're way past that. Why would they?
That's
We're
assuming they're
we're
way
back
past
to they,
that, though.
They have to be. If
Why?
they can get in our solar system from outside of it, their technology has to be light years past ours.
Well,
We can't
couldn't they
do
have
it,
just
so they have
discovered
to be past us.
discovered a way that we haven't yet?
If they have physics beyond ours, they are way more advanced than us. To get any of our physics more beyond what they are, you have to be either way beyond what our intelligence can handle or have technology way beyond ours. Either of those equals civilization way beyond
Well,
ours.
maybe they're different dimensional beings, and
No,
their
now you're just
technology
adding
won't
pointless
work
fluff.
within our 3D
If
world.
they're out of our dimension, they can't affect our dimension. And that's it. Whatever's in our universe has to be our universe. Has to be our matter, our energy, our physics. Nothing outside of that can affect it. If it can, then it's a part of it. That's the point. If it's beyond our measure and outside of all of our dimensions, then we're beyond its measure and dimensions too. It's a two-way street. Just like everything in a black hole's out beyond us, everything of us is beyond what's in the black hole too. If they're out of our dimension, then they're out of our dimension. There's no going, oh, they're out of it when we try to interact, but when they want to interact, they're in our dimension. That's not how it works. It's either part of our physics and universe or it's not. That's your brain trying to hold on to what I want to be true and twist and bend and, okay, well, if all this is true, then what about that? Like, no, there's no... That's like saying, what if
I'm just trying to figure out
what if
all
they're
the questions.
immune to light,
the answers.
but then they're not immune to light when they do this? Like, no, they either work with physics or they don't.
Well, I mean, wouldn't that explain why they have these black lenses over their eyes because of the sun?
They
Because
don't necessarily
maybe their
have
planet
anything.
doesn't have
That's
the
just what you
brightness.
think they might look like. There's no confirmed alien. There's no confirmed what they look like.
I'm just going by reports, because now that the Congress had the hearing congressional UFO hearing.
Mom, you're just this is how low level you're realizing. Like that's what I'm saying. Your brain can't comprehend how advanced it is. You're trying to explain their eyes based on okay a different sun because their eyes look different. There's 10 billion different sets of eyes on Earth under the same sun. Trying to extrapolate based on that is pointless.
I think it's an actual lens like sunglasses that they wear over their eyes.
Animals have that on our same sun.
Oh, do
so
they?
trying to say, oh, they're alien because of this, or their star must be this because of those eyes, you can't. There's animals that do all kinds of crazy eyes. There's blind animals, there's everything. There's animals that can see in water, their eyes have shit on them. There's animals where their lenses blink this way. There's things that can see for miles and miles, and there's things that see different wavelengths of light we can't see.
I'm just saying the government and the military is saying that they have crashed
No, the
UFOs.
government has never officially said that ever. No government
Yeah,
ever
they're
has.
saying it now.
No, I would
The
argue
Pentagon
that.
released the Navy's videos
Evidence,
of UFOs.
yeah, of them flying. Not that we have them.
And
no.
it says there's
And they
things
never
in
said
our
alien
atmosphere
craft.
that we can't identify.
Yeah,
but
no one
these
said alien.
military
Ever. No one ever said they had one.
captains, etc., went to this hearing and testified what they
I know,
saw
I've listened
in
to 'em.
person.
I've also listened to all those captains for hours and hours and hours.
Okay, and they're all
of
just
what
lying.
saw.
They haven't
No.
seen these UFOs.
UFO doesn't confirm alien. UFO means a craft that we don't know.
They
what
also
it is.
confirmed alien bodies.
Mom, our first stealth bombers were considered UFOs. No one knew what the fuck they were until it was
Well, I
later.
get that.
That's
I'm
what it
talking
probably
about
is.
extraterrestrial.
There's no evidence of aliens. No one has said alien. No one has got a body.
Yes, they've said
no,
bodies.
no government has.
The
ever.
military,
No.
what do you call it,
None
employees?
of those guys, those captains you're talking about that saw the government Pentagon release stuff, not one of them has claimed seeing a body or
Okay, so they're
We
all
had
just
UFOs.
drones. Somebody had to create them and
we don't
build
know
them.
what they are. That's
We didn't build
that
them.
doesn't mean aliens.
They're
though.
beyond our capabilities.
Yeah, we didn't make them. No, not necessarily. We don't know what other countries
To go
have.
voop, 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 voop,
We
all
think they're
in
beyond.
so fast, you
That
know.
could be a fucking hologram protection. Maybe a country's working on a 3D hologram that looks like it's real. Those are things. What do you mean? What are you laughing? It
Oh
exists.
God.
There's 3D concerts of dead musicians. You
Yeah, I
don't
know.
this?
I've
Yeah.
seen those.
So think of that advanced 100 years. It could be that. We don't know. Yes, it could be aliens, but it also could not.
Thank you. It could be. So they're
No
not.
one ever said
it's
it.
not
isn't.
ruled out. You
but
can't
again,
rule
it's
against
Occam's razor.
them.
What's more likely? We don't. Humans most likely. And again, but you're also tying in the. You're not sorting what's real and what's not. You just tied in by accident these legitimate captain testimonies with people, other people who've claimed, oh yeah, I used to be in the government. We've got bodies. We've got no. Those guys are quacks with no proof. And you're mixing the two as equal valid evidence, and they're not. That's where you keep running into problems. Like, yeah, those guys' testimonies that we definitely did see some crazy crafts that do shit that none of our shit that we know of can do, and we don't know
So
what the fuck they were. But that does not guarantee alien.
then, like
And
you,
none
and
of those people
most
have claimed
people,
alien.
are
None of
you-
them said we have
you're
crafts.
waiting for the government
Concrete-
to
no.
come out and say there's
Not always the
alien bodies.
government.
Walk them out on
Any
the
concrete
stage.
evidence. I don't care if it's a government or not. If anybody can produce an alien body, then that's real. If anybody can produce tech no one else has, that's real.
There's just
Doesn't have to be
scant
government.
videos like Bigfoot.
Yeah, those are all debunked.
Do you think Bigfoot could have been
That famous walking
an
debunked
experiment?
guy, they came out
a
and
lab?
admitted it was them in a suit. You know that, right?
Oh,
the
the
original Bigfoot.
yeah.
Every one of those have all been debunked. The fake photos, the dudes that come out, the Loch Ness, the famous photo, he came out and admitted he had done it, and it got out of hand and blew up. He was
And
just
what
trying
about
to
all the people
sell
that
it
have
in
said they've
newspaper.
seen one?
You can't take individual experiences as fact. I've told you.
Hmm.
Schizophrenics are just as valid as everyone else. What you feel in your brain, whether it's light, energy, sound, sight, can't be taken as fact unless everyone else also, and all instruments detect it as well. So anyone can say anything.
Well,
It
if
doesn't
they're
mean
real,
anything. That's not evidence. of
Could they
anything.
be a lab experiment, a rogue
There's no evidence of us being on the
DNA
experiment.
cloning
There's
something?
none. Our DNA matches to everything else on Earth. We're related to the plants. We're related
Well,
to the
we don't
bugs.
have Bigfoot DNA, but
There's no evidence.
could
of a
they have been
Bigfoot.
an
There's
experiment and been created?
Nothing on Earth is not unrelated to anything else on Earth. There's no organism from bacteria to us, to plants, to trees, to everything, that doesn't have a common ancestor. It's all part of the same tree of life. There's nothing here that an alien dropped off that we've ever detected or seen. Every creature we've ever examined, its DNA is related.
Same with plants.
Yes, every plant as well. We're all related.
Everything came from this planet.
Yes. We're all, there's no foreign alien besides obviously meteorites, meteors, things like that. And we check them when they come. Like, and there is sometimes bacteria and shit, I believe, if I remember it, on meteorite, or no. I think there's like a kind that we've had as well. I'd have to look into
Well, there'd have to be different
Yeah,
material
there's
out
no-
there somewhere
there's
if
no
different
animal,
planets have different
there's no
creatures.
plant. Yeah, exactly. And their DNA would be, they might not even have DNA. Exactly. We wouldn't know.
Might not have DNA.
Yeah, it might be a completely different system.
Oh,
Genetic
holy, I
memory.
can't imagine that.
They could be silicon. Silicon links to carbon.
Really,
Or silicon.
really.
So the reason
I've
all
heard something like that before,
yeah,
like
the reason
crystal
all of Earth
creatures.
life is carbon based is because it's the same thing as Occam's razor in engineering. What's easiest to do is the natural and most likely to happen. Just like that's why sphere bubbles are spheres. That's the natural low energy state. It's the easiest to make. So that's what gets made. Carbon connects to other atoms, like one of the most. It has the most kinds of connections that can fit to the most useful shit. It can make a lot of useful things, and that's why we're all carbon based. Silicon would be the second most useful out of all the elements that life could be based on. So that's why often the theory is there could be silicon-based life out there as well.
Huh.
Because it can
Oh.
also make a lot of useful chemical reactions and things.
What
So-
would that look
so
like?
yeah, who fucking knows? We
Oh,
can't even imagine it. Because yeah, carbon is hard, and obviously there's soft versions of it too. But like your bones, you can also get our silicone is bendy and it doesn't cut the same. It doesn't, yeah, handles heat differently when the energy's added to it. Yeah, that'd be nuts. But it could be.
A conscious being?
Yeah, life, a whole set of beings, of animals and everything. Yeah.
Mm.
It's all its cells would be based on silicon instead of carbon, and all the plants on this planet would be. Yeah, different chemical processes and reactions. It would all still be based on its star. That would be the main source that most likely feeds the plant type life that doesn't move and isn't mobile, and then moving life would feed on that, and then somehow put out some kinds of gases, and it would breathe some kind of possibly oxygen, possibly something else, and everything fits. The same chemical reactions, like I said, it's all one big math equation. So there's a lot of crazy different things life could be, but there's also a lot of things life we know couldn't be. So when people make crazy claims of, oh, I saw this alien made of this or that, or it could do this, like, no, it can't. But yeah, like they wouldn't send down objects to view us. Like that's always a human way of thinking in our limited tech. Oh, a drone with a
Okay,
camera.
then could that
They're gonna be
be?
so far beyond that. If
Then
they
that
wanna
could be
see
the
you,
military could do
if they want to
that
learn absolutely
because they're
everything
what
about
10 to
you.
20 years ahead
Yeah,
of us.
That's what most people's ideas of UFOs out in near Area 51 and shit were, was military tests and projects.
Well, they've said some of the abductees have said that the military
But you
mimics
can't-
abductions.
Abductees never have any evidence. Like you can't. Their testimony is pointless to go off of.
Oh,
just
I
trying
know,
to prove
I
something.
know.
It's just a person's words. Like that's. Like there is valid idea of thinking about how life of aliens could be, and the way the math checks out, there most likely is life out in the universe. The odds of us being the only life is infinitesimal. It would be
Oh
insane
yeah,
if we
exactly.
were. So they are, but the
Where
odds of
is
them
everybody?
getting to us is
So far
well,
away.
No, most likely they're not like us. They're not most life. Think about it. We're the only life forms that have technology and science and all. That's it. Out of the quadrillions that have existed, we're
You
the
mean on this
only
planet?
branch. Yeah, but that's a lot of examples. That's a number you can't even put in your head of examples of life forms, and only one ended up like us. We're an oddball offshoot.
So like there should be or could be
Intelligence,
monkeys that talk
investing
and
in
chickens that
intelligence
talk
to
and
degree. Oh, it could be nothing even like any creature we have that is intelligent. Yeah, the fact that primates became intelligent was just happenstance. Birds could have become the dominant intelligent-based species.
oh lordy, you're taking me deeper.
Dolphins, are almost like. But primates made sense because we had the hands that could be used. We started being able to do this, and then opposable thumbs is the big one.
Thumbs.
That like without that, that's a huge difference. But and it's about a need also. It's because the reason we came around is because environments changed, and it's all about adaptability. So certain traits, like being super big and strong, like a rhino, is obviously a very solid strategy. You don't need intelligence. That's why they're super fucking dumb. But generally, low intelligence, super powerful physical things like that suck at adapting to environmental changes. So if where the rhino lives becomes a completely different environment over a couple of generations, they're most likely going to fucking die. Whereas intelligence is one of the most adaptable. We obviously can be smart about our environment changes. So that's why primates were partially why they were like a likely choice compared to birds and things. It was basically primates that lived and survived by being in trees. Their environment changed to where they could no longer do that, and they ended up, because I believe we came from, it's Africa, like the savannah and the plains and stuff.
Oh, that's where I believe life started. That's where I believe the Garden of Eden.
It's where modern humans
or the
started.
Garden of, the Garden of Eden. Life started in Africa. I was actually.
Our species of human, Homo sapiens.
I had read about automatic writing, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. Maybe I could try that.
Those were primates that were
ended up drawing something, and it was a map of Africa. And it came with the thought of this is where life started.
Yeah, so you were asking how we.
I got it a weird way.
Okay, well, hold on. Before I lose this, you were asking how we came from monkeys and blah blah blah, and trying to picture it over time. That's what you got to picture. Not any that exists today, but some kind of crazy big ape creature that was living in trees, and that's how it avoided lions and all that scary shit, snakes and all the deadly shit, the trees. Well, the environment changed, got way hotter, became the African savanna and desert and all that. No more trees. How do those guys live? The ones who are best at moving on the ground are the ones who survived. And over time, they'd be the only ones that made babies that survived. And it would become even more so. The ones who were even better than those original ones at running on the ground instead of trees and all that would get better and better. Just like the ones who were smarter at figuring, and that's how evolution works. So we eventually went from, those tree ones to more having to rely on being on the ground to eventually standing up.
Well, humans didn't.
Eventually having to learn to then be fully upright.
Appear until a long, long time in the development of the earth.
Yeah.
So is it possible?
We're young as fuck. We're barely out of the jungle.
Is it possible that an even more advanced creature than us can appear?
No. We're the smartest by far.
So we would transform into more advanced.
Evolution can't fast forward. No other creature can magically skip ahead 1 billion years and then appear smarter than us. We're the smartest thing on Earth.
Well, I mean, the difference between us and zoo apes, could there be a difference in future humans?
Oh, yeah, we're going to possibly. Well, so our brains can't get much bigger. So we're actually relatively close to the limit of our intelligence, but things could change. But humans, that's why babies are so worthless, and the skulls are all soft and things. Yeah.
Babies are worthless.
Yeah. Think of how long it takes a human to be able to survive on its own compared to any other animal. Puppies, kittens, lions, tigers, wolves. They're ready to go in a few weeks, hunt and kill and live. Survive on its own if it had to. Obviously not necessarily 100%.
But we're not in a survival world anymore, right?
Yeah, we are. Humans still die.
Not natural
even in
survival
our world,
because we have doctors.
A baby can't survive on its own. A baby can't go walk to a doctor. How long until a human can survive in the human world, let alone the natural world? It takes years and years and years, right? No other animal's like that. That's us. The reason is our brain has gotten as big as a woman's hips can handle. That's why our head's the big problem part, and it's worse than the shoulders. That's why babies come out. Look at a human adult.
So wouldn't we develop wider hips?
Look, we already have. They can't get really much wider than they have.
Why? So there's a limit to that.
Yeah, to the way the bones are shaped, the way the sockets work together. We're
Holy
at that limit.
moly.
Yeah. So that's why a baby, look at a human's head compared to the size of their body and shoulders. Look at a baby's. Their head's fucking giant.
Yeah, it's all head.
Yeah, because we're at the limit of brain size.
That you can birth.
We have evolved to a point of making as big of a brain as we can make in our species. So we're limited there. We've hit that limit. And we're also close to our limit on what % of our energy and calories are burned up feeding our brain. So we're not at the smartest we can be, but we're close. Unless we physically change massively, which might happen, but that's going to be over millions of years. and there's a time limit on Earth. The Earth's going to be gone. The sun's going to die.
Right.
So we can only get so advanced. And so to get further, that's part of why there's these things. You've probably heard of Type 1 civilization, Type 2, Type 3, Type 4. There's these certain models that's if a species becomes intelligent, becomes civilization and technology based, it will have certain barriers and certain things it must do and overcome. And to become certain levels, you have to become multi-planet. And then to get to the higher levels beyond that, you have to become multi-solar system, because your
What?
stars are going to die.
What would that have to do with it? Oh, so you have
Because
to
you
be
need
able
a
to
time frame. Evolution
another
happens at a certain
planet.
speed. So for civilizations to
keep
continue
your
to a certain
species
level,
developing.
your species has to be alive for billions of years, or maybe
Okay.
hundreds of millions. And to do that, you have to become interplanetary. Then you have to become intersolar system.
So humans is
that is how we know if aliens were here from out of our solar system. They have to be a certain level of civilization. They have to be crazy beyond us. Among also being able to travel beyond light years and things and do all the shit you'd have to do to get here. They have to be like a Type 2, Type 3, whatever. And there's like rules. Like, if you are able to effectively harness all of the resources and energy of your own planet, that's a Type 1, and use it how you would see fit. We're almost fully a Type 1. We're not there yet, but we're pretty getting close. And then if you're Type 2 would be, if I remember correctly, you're able to harvest all the free energy of your solar system. So you generally like the idea of a Dyson sphere. You've probably heard of that? Surround the planet with a sphere of some kind of satellites or devices that suck up its energy and then feed it more efficiently back to you. Right now, our whole planet, every organism that's ever lived is based off energy from the sun. Just the few beams that happen to randomly hit the Earth. That little tiny fraction of the sun's power is what's fed everything that's ever happened on Earth for all of its history. So a Dyson sphere, imagine how powerful the civilization is that can harness 100% of a star's energy, or even 50% with a cheap Dyson sphere, or 30. Now, how much more advanced they are than us.
This is what Nikola
And that's
Tesla
just
was
type
trying
2
to do.
of Type 4. Oh yeah, multiple scientists have made theories of that. Just our tech's nowhere near it. That's why it's called a Dyson sphere. It's after the scientist Dyson. So, aliens would be to get here from out. They're that level. They're Dyson sphere level. They can manipulate and maybe even create stars. They can probably warp and bend gravity and space time.
Oh,
So,
geez.
if they want to spy on you, they don't need to float down no visible thing to look at. They can do crazy fucking. They could probably bend space time and be out of our solar system and pull it and look at you like they're right in the room, possibly. Like, if you can learn to manipulate gravity and space time, you can do crazy shit. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Any human that thinks, oh, they came in and
Okay,
they
describe
they
again how
phased
they
through
would
my wall
come and look
and
at
they
you.
put a thing inside my body
Yeah.
to monitor me and left. They're wrong. No, why would they need to do that? They can monitor whatever the fuck they want from you. From
And
space,
how did you show a vision of
probably.
them monitoring?
Well, I'm just saying that's the concept of a human who doesn't understand how insanely advanced the aliens would be making up the story. Like, that's a brain. Even if they didn't consciously do it, they may 100% believe it, and in their head it may be true, but that's part of evidence that's made up, because, yeah, no alien that advanced would need to come and grab you. Like, that's just not how it works. Think of the government.
They don't, like, if
Think
they're
of human
taking
tech.
tree samples and people
They would
samples.
be so beyond that. They'd be able to do it without you being able to know it happened. You wouldn't have seen a light. You wouldn't have felt nothing. You wouldn't have memories. If they wanted to monitor you and do
well,
something
they
with you,
supposedly wipe your
they could do it.
memories.
Yeah, so no one would have these stories, would they?
Well, some of them go under hypnosis and do regressions.
No, they wouldn't use
And-
hypnosis. They wouldn't need to. They're so advanced. They'd be able to do whatever the fuck they wanted. If they wanted to do stuff to a human and monitor a human without that human knowing, it would happen. They would know everything they'd want to know, and the human would have no fucking idea. That's how advanced they would be. Their technology would be like magic to us. Like, that's why, like I said, that's why all the stories, you can always tell that they're not true, because it's always got a human aspect. It's something about the aliens always thinks like a human. Walking through this, or using a drone-like, camera-like object, or some recording device type object, or medical probing devices are always part of the stories. They wouldn't use anything even close to the way our medical shit is. They'd be so much more advanced. It'd be probably more like our sci-fi movies. They put you in some kind of booth or device or room, and it scans your whole thing. It knows everything about you in an instant.
Or just looks into your eyes and
Yeah, they might have perceptives. They might see every
Yeah.
wavelength of light. They might be able to X-ray you with their own natural eyeballs. They might be able to hear your heartbeat and smell your pheromones and smell your temperature, like anything. Yeah, exactly. They'd be so. I loved how Neil deGrasse Tyson put it. So our DNA is 1% different from chimps. You take the smartest chimp there's ever been, he can do what our little tiny toddlers can do, 2 to 4-year-olds, stack blocks,
Okay.
little basic puzzles. That's what 1% difference does. So think of 1% above us. That means our greatest, most genius people, Hawkins, Mozart, their greatest accomplishments would be the accomplishment of their aliens toddlers. They could do a Bach level song off the top of their head as a toddler. They could solve physics and rocket science in their head like Hawking can do as a toddler. That's how much more 1% would be above us. And aliens could be 95% above us. Like DNA wise. Think of how like insane that would be. You can't even comprehend it. Even 1% would have technology and shit we couldn't even comprehend and wrap our heads around. Just like how chimps couldn't. Imagine trying to explain nuclear physics to a chimpanzee. It's not even, and that's 1% difference. So aliens would be so beyond us. Like that's why anytime it's like they use this kind of thing or it can't. Like that's human ideas. We wouldn't be able to comprehend what the fuck they were doing to us, and you wouldn't even know. Like if they didn't want us to know, that's what.
So we'd be like little baby monkeys to them.
If they're only 1% above our like DNA difference, and it's all mostly toward intelligence. Yeah. And obviously, if we want to go monitor a chimp without it knowing, we can. It won't know if a satellite's looking at it.
Yeah.
Or infrared night vision goggles with a silent person. Or
Yeah.
a drone in the sky. It'll never have a clue. Just like how they can't even grasp the idea of that technology. We wouldn't even grasp the idea of the technology they're using to monitor us.
What if it's not the actual advanced beings that are coming in the UFOs and coming to Earth, but what if it's bio-made, alien-made creatures
Well,
that are
whatever
the
it would be,
actual
it would have their
ones
technology
manning
still.
the ships? They're like
Yeah, but
biological bots.
Whatever it would be would have the same level of technology. It would be so advanced if it wanted to monitor
No,
you
because they
without
come
you knowing it
into
would.
our 3D world, so they're going to use equipment, and they do it by sending these bots.
What do you mean by coming to our 3D world?
They use type of technology that could be
The
explained.
whole universe is 3D world. We're all the same world. There's no different.
There's-
Again, our universe
well,
is
4D,
our universe.
5D.
Our universe, our universe is 4D. There's no 5D. There's no other.
There's no
4D
5D.
is just time. If an alien is 4-dimensional, all that means is it can move through time as well as space. That doesn't mean it's out of this universe or like made of other stuff or.
No, I'm talking about when they try to explain how you can't a tesseract, how you can't see the fourth dimension, and
Because
it's.
the fourth dimension is time. There's nothing to see.
I thought we said that it wasn't actually the dimension, because time is in every dimension.
All dimensions are part there. It's all one thing. We live in one thing, one universe, and it's a 4-dimensional space-time. It has
I get so
3 dimensions of
confused.
space. You're trying to think of dimension as a whole world or a universe or existence. No, in dimensions, in this regard, it's just math. It's just geometry. That's all it
Okay.
means. It means you got lines and planes and spheres and all of it.
And I'm
That's all
looking for a
3 dimensions.
different word.
You're trying to take,
like
yeah.
frequency or
It has a specific
level
meaning
or
in geometry, and you're trying to apply it to other things and to philosophy. No, it doesn't mean dimension that way. 4 dimensions doesn't mean 4 planes of existence.
okay.
We are one existence. It's 4 dimensions in geometry only. Like they're talking about the actual geometry of the universe, the shape of it, and the shape of reality itself. The whole idea.
Like
of,
say the universe happens like the whole cosmos. Like there's multi-universes and they're happening within something, and that's happening within something else, would that be called?
It's
That wouldn't be
multiverse.
called dimensions,
No, it's just a
levels.
multiverse. There's not anything. It's other universes.
And if
Just
you're in a different
it'd be
portion
the same
of
thing as
that,
separate
are you in a
galaxies.
different dimension?
Galaxy and galaxy. No, it's just one multiverse. Just like how a galaxy over here and a galaxy over here are in different
Well, yeah, because it's
dimensions.
still all
They're
one,
just part
but
of our universe.
if you're in a different advancement in the evolution,
There's no the evolution. Evolution is just
everything evolves.
everything alive. Yeah.
Okay,
There's no
I lost myself again.
There's no single evolution. It's not like the whole universe is on the same time scale. We started, life on this planet started X amount of billion years ago. There could be another planet that life just started, and another planet that it was 2 billion years earlier than ours. So their evolution is completely different.
I think I'm missing a
And
word
evolution has different speeds.
that I'm trying to.
It's based on
I think of
environmental
as
pressures.
dimensions.
Heavier pressures equals faster evolution usually. Also, radiation levels equals higher levels of mutation. More mutation equals more evolution, but also higher death rates, so it has to have a balance. If it's too much radiation, life dies, but if there's not enough radiation, life dies.
I'm thinking of it like as layers of advancement. Like we'd be on one dimension and
Yeah,
the
it's
aliens
not
be on
that.
another
You're
dimension.
being
So
too
that's the wrong
one-dimensional.
word.
Evolution doesn't work that way. Evolution is anything. Every living creature on this earth is just as evolved and advanced as us. We're all on this part of the same chain. They just evolved in different ways besides intelligence.
No, I mean aliens on a different planet.
Their whole set of evolution is different.
Would they be
it's
considered
a whole different set of math.
in a different?
No, they're in our universe. They're not in anything different. They're just life on a different planet. Our universe is one thing that follows the same laws of physics. And whatever planet they're on and however they evolve, they still have to follow the same laws of physics that we do. And they still live in the same universe, same kind of matter and energy, and thermodynamics works the same. Nuclear physics
So if
works
they
the
land
same.
in a tree, they have to fall from a tree, like
Exactly.
the good old
And either
apple.
faster or harder than us, depending on their planet's gravity, but yeah, same thing. And if their planet rotates like ours, they have a day and a night, just like us, but different speeds. Different
If it
extremities.
rotates.
Yeah, not all planets necessarily. Some are locked. One side of the planet faces one side of the star forever.
You mean
One
like the
side's-
moon?
Yeah, one side's super hot, one side's really cold, and then the border would be the habitable zone, the twilight zone, right between night and day. Some planets spin way faster. Some aren't tilted like our tilt is a huge factor in our life.
And we're
cycle
not
and our
exactly a
weather.
sphere either.
Yeah, no. Most planets aren't going to be exactly a sphere.
I pictured them as forming from clusters of rock and just roll, like if you
It's
roll a
not
ball
though.
of clay, it just
Well, yeah,
smooths
it's like
out
that,
the
but-
edges,
well,
sort
it's 'cause
of,
gravity
because of
pulls equally
gravity.
in all directions,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it starts as dust first. Literally just particles of dust. Just little chunks of hydrogen and helium or whatever floating around. Chunks
Yeah.
of calcium,
Was
iron,
the first.
and they bump. And then as
Yeah.
the clump gets, the dust
Was
gets
it
pulled over
magnetic
by gravity. No, it's
attraction?
gravity.
Okay, then how is
Every bit of mass has
magnets created? How?
gravity. Magnetism is just
I
a
mean, it has to
different
do with the
force.
North and South Pole, right?
No.
Or the North.
No, that doesn't create anything.
Well, how was magnetics? It's such
Magnetism
a
is
fascinating
just a force
thing.
in physics.
Just a
like
force.
gravity,
Where'd it
just a
come
force.
from? What's
Where did all of it, the Big Bang.
what else
All
does
the
that
physics
besides
came-
magnets?
Everything is
Everything
magnetism
in-
works. Magnetism is part of electricity. It's electromagnetism.
Is it part of
It's
space?
part of everything.
Okay.
There's electromagnetism is part of electromagnetism is part of the force that stops me from going through this table. All your cells produce it. Everything produces it. Your electrons produce a little magnetic field.
So it's based on atom repulsion then.
It's like asking me what gravity's based on. Like everything's no, it's just a force. It's not based on anything. It's just one of the laws of the universe. You're asking me what is heat based on? It's a
Oh,
law of the
gosh.
universe. It's the words for a measurement.
So I'm
of a
trying to make it
force.
harder than it is, but I still
Well,
don't
no, you're
get
trying to
I'm trying to make
imply-
it easier than
No. You're doing a very common thing. It's a human viewpoint that you have to train yourself to not use. You're trying to imply a why, a reason, as if there has to be. There doesn't. Who said there's a why? Nobody. There might be, yes. We're not saying there's not, but there isn't necessarily. There might not be. It might just be that it just is. Maybe gravity just is, and there is no why. Maybe our universe just is. Yeah, but that's for most humans. That's the most fascinating question: is the why.
Well, I mean,
But it's the one that is the
I,
most
I,
useless.
I don't
in
know
science.
anything about when we first discovered magnets. Is it something they carved out
It's
of
not
rocks?
just magnets. You're thinking that magnets are magnetism. No, everything has magnetism. Everything is magnetic. If you had a strong enough
Including
magnet,
people.
you will get sucked up to
Okay.
it. Yeah. A magnet is just an object that naturally has properties that make magnetism affect it better. The electrons in a
Okay.
magnetic object can move more freely.
So it already existed like math.
Magnetism
existed.
is all the electrons aligning, the positive one way, negative the other, and then those are pulled to each other because of electromagnetism. It's just a force. Magnets happen to be a natural
So that
object.
did the dust collect
that are affected
originally
more.
as
No, because of gravity.
because of gravity?
Gravity.
Well, wouldn't there have to be an
magnetism
up and
affected.
down in space
No, there is no up and
to
down.
be gravity,
No.
or it's just the pull from
Every
matter?
bit of matter pulls in all
Matter
directions
has a
on everything.
pull.
Exactly.
Okay.
All matter has gravity. So all matter is attracted to itself, to each other. And the biggest clumps have the most gravity, so they pull more and become even bigger. And then the clumps that formed here and are forming out of the gas versus one here, eventually they'll reach the point where they start tugging on each other, and then you got an even bigger clump, and that's pulling on more shit, and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And then when it gets big enough, it starts pulling and orbiting rocks and shit, and adding even more. And then it gets big enough, maybe it starts scooping up asteroids.
And then
keeps growing.
settling like earthquakes happen to level all those rocks
Well,
out.
no, it depends. There's a billion ways planets can be made. Look at Jupiter. It never settled. It's a giant planet of gas and storming death and destruction. It doesn't even have solid ground. It's all gas all the way down to the core mostly. But it has way more mass than the Earth. Man, there's all kinds of ways planets can form. You can have a chunk of ice planet. You can have a planet.
So would
that's
it be
mostly
considered
iron.
in pre-formation or post-formation?
There's no end goal.
They're all
that's
just
another
different?
human thing. It's just constant. It's always going. It's just entropy. Yeah, there's no, this is where it's a planet now, or this is where it's finished. There's no finish. It's just an ongoing. Same with evolution. That's why anyone who has the missing link argument, it means they don't understand evolution. There's no one piece. There's no, it was this, and then this, and where's this one, and then this. No, it's just constant. Oops. Every human's still evolving. We're all slightly different. I'm different than you and Dad. You're different than your parents. We're different than humans were 500 years ago. Humans have been slowly getting taller and bigger and stronger and smarter. We're still changing. Our pinkies and toes have been shrinking. But that, I think, I have a slight theory that our pinkies might
Aliens don't have
go back.
pinkies.
Hmm?
Aliens don't have pinkies.
Possible.
That's
Yeah.
what I think.
I have a theory that our pinkies might actually start coming back longer in, say, 50,000 years.
Or
'cause
fall
we use
off.
them now.
Or they could fall off.
No,
because
we
we
use
don't.
them now.
Oh, for on the keyboard?
Yeah. We also a lot of professions. Plumbing, I use it all the time. Athletes, anything to do with building, engineer. A lot of humans use all of your pinkies now. We were losing them because they were mainly for helping to climb in trees. We stopped doing it, so humans have been slowly losing it. But now that we're using them again, they might slowly start coming back more. Toes, on the other hand, probably won't. Pinky toes will probably keep slowly getting smaller.
So if they're 3 or 4 foot tall, 70-pound beings, does that mean they have a difference in gravity
Not
on their
necessarily.
planet?
Their
Or they
planet most
just
likely would
they
have
don't
difference in
use
gravity.
physical muscles because I don't know if they're levitating around or doing everything with their minds and they don't use their bodies.
Yeah, you gotta
I
think
mean
of
that would
possibility,
explain
too.
an advanced being.
There's aliens that might not even be able to step foot on Earth, and they die instantly because of the gravity and atmospheric pressure. They
And
might have grown up on a planet
The
with one
combination
quarter
of
the gravity.
oxygen or something.
No, it's the gravity itself.
Oh, gravity.
Yeah. So
they would like maybe just float.
no, they would die. If
They-
an alien grew up on a planet that had 25% of Earth's gravity, and they landed on Earth and was in our gravity, they'd get crushed.
Oh.
Our skeleton is made Why do you think we're made?
Oh.
You are constantly fighting
be
gravity.
upright.
Your entire
Okay.
existence,
Okay.
all of life has been fighting Earth's gravity.
Uh-huh.
We are bred to
Yeah.
survive it, and same with our atmosphere. Same with the weight of our atmosphere, the density, the temperatures. We're bred for this environment. An alien's environment is going to be so different. Just like we need a spacesuit in space, it's just as crazy. They're going to need some kind of crazy suit probably, unless they grew up on a very similar
Or
planet.
send a bot.
Yeah, but it could be it can go the other way too. An alien life form could be on a way harsher planet with some more severe gravity, severe temperatures, gases, pressures. Our planet might be like a cakewalk to them. Like how we're on the moon and we're like, oh my god, I'm a superhero. I can jump 20 feet.
Oh,
No,
Momo.
knock it off. On our planet, they might be the same way. That's the story of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
On our planet, he's a fucking superhero because our gravity's so weak and our everything is different.
You should
Our
write
sun's
movies.
so powerful.
You should write movies. You could come up with some good sci-fi shit.
I can't come up with stuff from scratch. Like I can have ideas off of other shit, but I always have sucked it like from zero to just have that spark that.
Well, everything, like you said, inventions and creations are built upon something else. Or did I say that?
For most of media, yeah, almost everybody.
Most new ideas are built upon something else, yeah. I mean, you could take part Avatar, part Matrix, you know, part Man on the Moon. Well, that fills my science head today. Explode.